it's your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Zooming in on the concept of really how to change up the unspoken rules in a narcissistic relationship. Be it a covert narcissist, an overt narcissist, or a psychopath even. You're trying to work some things out. You're feeling like something is missing, a relationship is on the rocks. You're really not happy. You feel like you're just walking on eggshells. You feel like there's a lot of tension in the air and in the relationship. This person is just not talking about things. You're not able to get through to them, and hostility and such is building up. It's not a good place to be. And unless really the narcissist agrees to having a structured discussion where essentially you can sit down and actually clear the air, you're going to need to set some boundaries, some structure, and really some guidelines and rules to the relationship. And I discussed this in one of the narcissist relationship management tools on how to really, structure the relationship and have some of these conversations so that everybody is knowing that you're on the same page and you know what to expect from the relationship. Because so much gets swept under the rug, so much goes unspoken, that there's a lot of essentially unspoken rules that tend to navigate and direct the relationship. So you need to really get some rules out in the open. And John Bradshaw, in his book, The Shame That Binds, talks about some of the dysfunctional family rules or dysfunctional relationship rules. And that can be, first of all, one of control and chaos. So in other words, one person has control. This is really not accurate. They have assumed this position. Yes, there's a yin to a yang, there's a strength and a strength. But usually, like we hear so much, of equal representation in the workplace, etc., you really do need to acknowledge that there has to be some sort of equality in the relationship. Otherwise, one is always holding a lever to the other. I do more, I make more, you're indebted to me. And so there's this constant control carrot that's always being, just taunted and and gloom over this other person. And you cannot live like that, where you're constantly feeling indebted. You're constantly never ever going to be able to measure up to this person in their strengths. So they're keeping you down. And relationships should not be based on one being superior, one being inferior in any sort of situation. I mean, like if you have a working spouse and an unworking spouse, just because that one is at home doesn't mean that they are any less equal. I mean, where did that come into play? That needs to be discussed. So John Bradshaw discusses, if in a very dysfunctional relationship you have one who's in control, one who's in control of all the interactions, feelings, and personal behavior at all times. He also talks about the rule of perfectionism, that things have to be done specific way. No one can be their authentic self. I mean, these are very oftentimes unjust or unfair levels that this person holds you to, when you need to relax. You need to loosen it up a little bit and let some things go. Because, really, relationships should not be that much work. You should get on to the business of enjoyment. And also, he talks about some of the other unspoken rules, which are blame, and, pushing off of blame on others. No one's really taking responsibility or accountability, that of denial. So, these are some of the unspoken rules. The no talk rule, we don't talk about this, we don't talk about that. The no listen rule, I'm not going to listen to you when you bring this up, I'm not going to listen to you when you bring that up. The no mistakes rule, we really can't mess this up. Do you see how limiting all this is? So that there's a lot of these, what he's referring to as these unspoken rules in these very shame-based relationships. So you have to get these concepts out and open for discussion in the relationship and really call it that, and just say, you seem to guide our relationship by the fact that you think that you controlling everything is a hard and fast rule in the relationship. And what I need to express is that it can't necessarily be that way. I have a contribution here. I live under this roof as well, and I cannot be comfortable living that way. The fact that we don't talk about X, Y, and Z. This is a rule that we need to break. We need to fix this. We need to be a little bit more flexible here. We need to have some wiggle room. We need to be able to loosen up, because otherwise we're being too rigid here. And that's, people, if they're too rigid, they're going to break. So you need to be able to have these discussions. The fact that you never listened to me about this. You need to be flexible here. You need to open up. This is important for our relationship. And if we can't, if you're not able to listen to me on this, we have a definite problem. So these hard and fast rules that, will occur in a narcissistic abusive relationship really need to be designed by you in the relationship. You need to bring it to attention. And so that one person isn't always in control, one person is always superior, one person isn't trying to use leverage on another through fear, guilt, and obligation. Be willing to break some of those rules and see if you can make a little bit of headway. If they are not open, once again, you have a serious issue to contend with, and you have to be able to be decisive. How am I going to handle this, cope with this? Am I going to let this go? Or am I going to move on and I'm going to go no contact? Be willing to really explore these ideas and options within yourself so you can live in happiness and peace the way you're meant to be living. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.